coordinated or she just dies. As the Renata you mentioned does finally come through here.
I mean, it's Kellen as well. This is a really powerful lane. Of course, the Braum will still have some utility for blocking some of what she wants to do, but I do feel like Renata it's in like the lane, which is almost everyone, which is very, very silly. Here you've got Viper and Delight just pushing up into Sobro. We'll see whether it is going to be a plate going on over as Peanut is trying to set up for a dive here, and he just walks on in, puts down the ground, and there is the concussive blows. They'll just get the flash out from Sobro and go about their business, and maybe just look for a redive as he does dodge out of the way as Viper picks up the turret aggro. Sobro outplays him, and that's HLE not in position to take these. They also got the Dragon, so this is going to be very close to feats of strength going over to them as far as these objectives are concerned. Yeah, and a good start.
We just don't see any sort of wraparound here for Viper and Delight. They can't get close enough, and the Azir ultimate so powerful in skirmishes like this, especially pre-level 6 for the Renata, but the timing is so perfect here for BNK. And I'm getting that prio and take 2 grubs. Daystar.
Yeah, Daystar does not have his R button available as the culling is going to come on through, and there is the pillar. There is nowhere for him to go. I really think it's smart though. Valdez's boy Daystar not using his flash as this dragon's going down.
Let's see.
Want to see whether this is going to be a Chemtech or not.
That's Cloud.
Or just lose.
And in the moments leading up to this Herald contest, Delight's going to have to face check.
Well, does he have to? He definitely does face check, and in fact, he just puts up the door and he's fine. Man, that's some extra points into the door, I reckon, as the train has left the station. Kellen is going to leave the Rift. Has no bailout for him. It's a double kill of the bottom lane for the Scion in an instant. As the public execution onto Viper, he could be going down, bounced around. He's going to fall, but I just don't know whether it's going to not be enough to save BNK FearX here as Daystar looking for the charm. Another Flash Winter's Bite goes wide there. Delight is at least consistent in this game. And HLE still very happy with the outcome as, oh dear, that charm is going to connect as Delight.
Daystar narrowly avoids that Winter's Bite, but like Delight got the locket, they were set up, they were like, all right, we're gonna force this fight. I know they're likely in this bush and we're ready to just pounce on them because Braum can tank it. We can just ult them and then turn with Zeus coming in with his ultimate. Like I feel like even though they couldn't see, they knew everything.
Well, Daystar is able to use his ult to get out of the way of the Scion, but that was very scary. And yeah, this could have been way worse for BNK FearX. I think I oversold it as far as a win for HLE just because of the shenanigans that happened immediately afterwards. Rift Herald does come on through though. That is going to spell the end of this outer turret as Diablo takes a full culling to the head. And now Zeka is going for a bit of a drive. Peanut turns up, finds Daystar yet again. Remember, doesn't have the ulti. And the Azir is coming in. My God, the drifting on this man. Just swoops onto the turret, takes it down. And now it is Zeus's turn. All right, checking the brush there as well. Man, HLE is showing off. Have they been taking driving lessons from Peanut? Because of his cool like motorcycle driving that he had that season, that one time as Raptor's dead. Crescent Guard does do a fair bit of work there in that moment. Public execution into the backline for Sobro, but the Emperor's Divide says, no, you are not dashing out of that one, and it's Delight that gets the kill. Zeka gonna flash.
But when it's broken up like this, I mean, BNK do fall like dominoes.
Well, nice handshake there from Kellen onto Viper, but he takes a Winter's Bite. That one's going to land. Viper does have to get himself out of the way, but just has to use a dash for it. Daystar will find the angle on this bottom lane, though, and there are some resets to come in. A double kill for Diablo at the same time. BNK FearX going to be very happy about that, even if they aren't necessarily out of the woods.
Say a lot of things about how Viper is playing this first game, but respectful, I would think, would not be one to describe it as...
No, well, this is not respectful, but like, does Zeus need to? It's a bailout. Let's see whether that is going to work out. They almost take down Peanut, the Subjugate. Almost working there. Sobro going to come in. Is 3 people enough to kill Zeus? No. The answer is no, ladies and gentlemen, as in comes Zeka, finds an Emperor's Divide. The handshake's decent, but not decent enough. And yeah,
charged Q onto Diablo. Kellen does his best to help him out, but the bailout is actually super close here. He even flashes to try to guarantee it, but is unsuccessful. And
oh, Delight, that was sexy. I think he got the steal, right? I did see money come up over his head. All right, Raptor going to split the fight here, but the door is doing so much. Public execution into the backline as Sobro finds Viper. They execute him, they take him down. Remember, the Scion still exists. Zeka trying to get the DPS down, but he will fall. And Peanut, the next one, just throwing this club into the opposition. Diablo doesn't get bailed out. And it's so far a 2 for 2. The disengaged cone going to come on through there. As Zeus, he doesn't quite have the keys to the train right now, and he only has like 700 health. Let's see whether that's going to be enough. Soul Furnace comes up, and he will explode, but there's 1,090.
Empress Divide really well.
And then, like, Daystar is just constantly applying damage here, and Zeus ends up getting the kill on the other side. Is the dragon... Okay, we're just fighting for a dead dragon.
Yep, we're going for it again, as the culling is just going to be eaten by the entire team. Zekra on a great flank angle as the handshake onto Delight is not fantastic, and Raptor doesn't have that Crescent Guard anymore. Still, they take down Delight, but look at this AoE. It's kind of repulsive. Raptor knows that he's going to go down, and now, oh god, that is not the ticket that they wanted to pick up. As Zeus will find the angle, the flash forward from Kellen. He will be able to take down Viper here, who's just really not having his most fun day today. The revenge is going to be instant.
So I don't think there was any world where they could have done a 25-minute Baron, but
all right, it's time to engage onto the Scion, and maybe it's going to work because Diablo is able to just get all of these Blight stacks on top of him. Hostile Takeover doesn't do too much, but it does enough. So Zeus going to start this fight off dead, and HLE in this 4v5 not going to be feeling too good about it. It could be a Baron angle here for BNK FearX.
He used so much, though, and they still have to stick to the Baron, and Daystar's cut off. I don't know about this. Sobro's got a nice angle.
Oh god, this is that minute later that we were talking about before. He does actually have enough CDR to get that ulti back again as Public Execution. Once again, it is magnetized to Viper. Unfortunately, this time, they were not distracted. They just turn, and they burn him down. Raptor now in trouble as Zeka will find the combo this time. It's a double kill as Viper's going to take the next one. That is 2 pair for now. Will they be able to find the full house with Daystar turning up as the door is going to block? The Ardent Blaze comes in. We just need a cute little dash, and that was a gorgeous pillar of filth there, Peanut. Beautifully done, and there it is. That's the full house, even if it isn't necessarily official.
Remember that story I told about Ambessa ulting onto the Lucian and then getting ulted by Peanut and then disappearing? That was a theoretical world where that could have happened, and then it happened in reality there for Sobro in that last fight.
And it happened as you predicted. You know, sometimes the lab experiments in real life are kind of similar. As Nexus Terror number 2 going to be going down here as BNK FearX desperately trying to defend, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Viper is just dashing around, trying to get a couple of extra kills, but the Nexus will explode, and HLE will take the win. That is exactly what you want to be putting together. The classic Kai'Sa versus Xayah is going to be the response here, but it's not necessarily a winning lane there towards the bottom side, although we'll do fine into Kai'Sa and the Alistar.
I really think he's winning this hard, but he definitely is.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Scion is an example of a champion that is just a little bit good at the moment. As, all right, Peanut is going to come up and push Raptor away. I could sense that there was a bit of a dive of brewing. As, all right, Raptor is just going to push him away from this.
Yeah, he gets away his stacks as well. Now they could look for the turn.
Yep, there is the exhaust onto Sobro. He's taking a lot of damage, and there's the stun onto Raptor. He is going to be able to get first blood, but it's traded immediately. You've got now Viper moving up, doesn't have his Featherstorm available, so I don't know whether they want to fight this. And exactly right, that is indeed. Thanks for the leash.
Delight had 6 prior to this, and they were able to make a play faster on the top side. Then he could have ulted Peanut and maybe made a play there with Zeka rotating over, but instead they kind of put their global on where BNK were going to come and suss that out. So Peanut's global means nothing because he's the one.
Oh dear. Equalizer is going to go down. Let's see whether Sobro can stay alive in this. Is the Stand United, the flash forward, and that is another kill onto Sobro here.
Has backed. Peanut's the target.
Yeah, Raptor comes on over. There is the heroic entrance there as well. The knockups, he was just unable to do anything. And this is the thing, if they do manage to get their ducks in a row, force HLE into an awkward position where they're stacked up, they can keep them in the sky forever.
As the game goes on.
Yep. Speaking of, okay, he is going to just exhaust Sobro once again, and Peanut comes on over. If the
advantage here, the Raptor coming up. They're going to repeat the play from earlier.
All right, 3 might be enough here. Snip on cooldown, does put up the circle, does have the needlework, so might be able to survive for quite some time. Stand United does come in. There's a taunt under the turret as well. Zayas takes so long to die, and Kellen, he's got an unbreakable will. That will allow him.
Just buys so much space.
Oh, Sobro, I think might be dead again as the Featherstorm is going to clear that one out, but it's a great pulverize from Kellen. Blade Caller comes through though, and unfortunately it's not quite enough. Diablo gets in on top, looks for Viper, who's still at 200 health, still moving forward, knows that they don't have much of it.
I mean, it had his ultimate available as well, and that's going to be a turret in exchange here on the play. So an attempted aggressive play from BNK backfires, leads to a turret plus Dragon here for Hanwha Life.
That is, like, catastrophic as far as what they lose off the
global ultimates.
Yeah. Teleport going to come in here as BNK looking to try and take this one down. Grand Starfall does get Peanut in, but it's a great equalizer placement. Still Peanut gets the smite. Raptor goes in, and he's out again immediately, and so's Peanut. He's going to survive. The Featherstorm avoids the heroic entrance, and Daystar is stunned up as soon as he lands. No one... his ultimate, so he is a little bit more killable than he'd otherwise be. Checking in on the bottom side here as there's a headbutt back onto Peanut. Can he survive, though? Does get a big old shield, and the answer's no. That is a lot of...
overzealous, to say the least there. Peanut was like, see champion, kill champion, question mark?
Ooh, Delight might be his turn to be in a little bit of trouble here as the woes of HLE continue. He gets a bit of a shield as the equalizer is going to help finish him off, and now Viper in an awkward spot. The Featherstorm is now on the ground, but he doesn't get a lot of value from the pullback as Raptor comes in, gets the double Cyclone, and takes down the Xayah. Zeka is now a big problem, and so is Zeus. So the work isn't over yet. As 3 versus 3 here, Zeus just hunting them down. Possibly looking for stake first as he jumps out of the way of the monkey. There's the Justice Punch, though, as a heroic entrance does come down, and Zeka will finally join the fight and look to take them down. But it's Kellen with the Ignite, actually, that helps lock down that kill. And the block of the Justice Punch, oh no! Valdez's boy Daystar, that is not... Let's see whether they can make it work, as they are all grouped up. Oh no, the Engage Herald. Grand Starfall to come down as well. Diablo is going to be the target here. As how does he play Sion twice? It's fearless. This is not fair. And Zeus is not even the one that's helping lock down these kills. Daystar is already dead. Raptor goes down as well. And BNK FearX, I guess they had one good fight in him. And now it is all kind of done and dusted, as that one looked like they had run out of that said fight completely.
Well, that's a creative way to flank with Gwen. We've seen a new tech.
Oh, he wasn't playing Sion again. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, good. Well, at least he's not doing something illegal.
One of the trickiest things about playing Gwen oftentimes is because you're melee, you're trying to get on top of those targets, but you kind of have to run at them with your scissors. He's in the side lane, it's illegal.
Yes, he's not allowed to be there. Viper is going to walk down the red carpet, but that's only because he's a famous guy. Never mind, he's actually a dead guy. As he does pull back some feathers, does manage to do a fair bit of damage there to Diablo, as now Peanut is in a lot of trouble. In goes Delight with the Stance United, but the heroic entrance is there to answer, and Zeus has found Diablo in the backline. Snip, snip goes the Gwen, and he's looking to take him down. The needlework is beautiful. He's crocheting them in the backline, as Kellen also going to be falling down. There's the Shadow Dash from Delight, and it's once again
over, but the rest of the team is here faster, and Sobro's equalizer here just buys some space for the rest of his team to come over, but he doesn't have it for the subsequent fight. And then look at the teleport here from Daystar, comes in. This
kind of absurd. Delight now level 11. As Kellen's moving over, he is going to get taunted up as he finds the ultimate button. Viper from over the wall. There's the equalizer that goes down, but it's not doing a whole lot of anything at all. Zeus goes golden. They might be able to take him down here, but instead he's just going to kill his fellow top laner. The Featherstorm comes down, and it's used offensively here by Viper as Peanut says, top of the morning to you, Mr. Cowman, and takes down Kellen once again. That's going to be the ace, and HLE
gets that first kill. Maybe Viper has to ult a little bit faster, but with a big whiff of the ult like that, it's just simple math here. It's on cooldown, but now they're coming back. Viper's ult's almost back up, and that's the big one here.
Oh, Zeus is just going to face check this brush. I think he's going to be absolutely fine. As in he goes, they look for the angle onto Raptor, who is just going to get over the wall, but does die. That is going to be Peanut sniping him with a spear. Over the wall goes Zeus. This needlework is doing too much. Absolutely too much damage onto Diablo here as Zeka. He's going to follow up and look for another Q. That should be there. There it is. And it's another ace. Out of nowhere for HLE. No Baron required, I think, as they look to break the base.
They're just going to walk down and end this time around. The last time weren't quite able to finish off of, but this time they're right here with a wave of minions. Zeka with the question mark here, and BNK just getting obliterated by Hanwha Life Esports. In the one-sided series we expected, but I at least want to give BNK credit for making it a good old try, especially in the second game. It was better than I expected.
How easy is the Zeus POM though? Like, am I right? 7,000 gold ahead as they look to brawl a little bit more. That Featherstorm did a whole lot of work there for Viper as he grabs another 2. 12, 2, and 11. for the top laner of HLE.
Doesn't make himself vulnerable. A lot of Zaya's play like, well, I have my ult, I can stand anywhere. Viper plays like he doesn't have his ult. And
Yeah, or he also like looks for the ways to use the ultimate aggressively, because he zoned 3 people with it around a Baron fight that allowed them to get pickoffs before the before the rest of the team was able to collapse. Zeus is obviously going to get POM. Like that was the most obvious thing ever. 700 points now for the Lord of Lightning, and understandably so. 12, 2, and 11 on
I think
this Gwen that was targeted in the early game.
Everybody had a good series, but his points of the series were just the strongest. Like both games really dictated the pace. His Gwen was what they drafted for and played through with the globals, and he did not disappoint. So
no.
I would not be surprised if this one is unanimous today.
No, I think it was a relatively easy tick to put in a box. I think yesterday, Orcs had some trouble working out where to put the tick. I imagine your tick was pretty brainless this time
so
around.
far.
Yeah, for Zeus. That was an obvious one. Maybe the next series is going to be a more difficult tick location series. Although, when in doubt, barrel, okay? They may not necessarily win. Let's go into the interview here first.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Zeus on the side of Hanwha Esports. You're able to finish off strong with a victory at the very end of round 2 and reach 700 POM points. How do you feel? No, every time you get POM, I know that it's really hard to get a POM, so I feel like I'm pretty proud of myself for securing another POM today. And today was the last match of round 2 for you, meaning it was the last checkpoint before road to MSI. So what did you try to focus on today? For road to MSI, I think we have a lot of time to prepare. There will be 2 different patches. And I think whichever team does a lot of practice and is prepared will do the best. I think you just have to make sure that you build up those wins and those end up contributing in the end to those qualifiers. It says Zeus fighting. So what are your thoughts? Actually, I just saw it, and I actually saw it earlier before the match started, and I feel like those fans, they have such great synergy and teamwork. Hanwha seems to be very good at maximizing every advantage when the opponent makes a mistake. So, is it someone that's really good at catching these necessary steps? No, I think just whichever moment a player is able to spot these opportunities will make the call. So it really depends. And when it comes to you, Zeus, we instantly think of carry champs. Yeah, lately you've been performing wonderfully with tanks. So in your opinion, what is the current meta for top?
체급이 너무 높아가지고 말도 안 되게 높아서 되게 좋다고 느끼고 있고 요새 또 탑라인에
I do feel like Sion has been really good. There are a lot of champions that I have had struggle dealing with, like Gwen as well. And just observing Sion being used in matches, I feel like Sion's actually really good in the current meta. Yeah, there are many teams utilizing the Sion Trundle comp. So what are your thoughts on this comp?
사실 되게 둘 다 챔피언이 좀 워낙 멍청하고 단순한 챔피언들이기 때문에
those 2 champions are super dumb and simple, I guess, when you pilot them. So I don't think it's just good. There are teams that are able to utilize it correctly, but there are also some cons with these champions. And in game 2, Hanwha revealed their first Shen support. So how is playing him on stage? Yeah, I think it's because we wanted to put more pressure on the side lanes. And also, Delight really wanted to. He actually really tried to convince the team that he wants to play Shen support, and it was really his call in the end. So you finished rounds 1 and 2 with 14 wins and 4 losses, second place in the standings. So are you happy with this outcome? Yeah, we're able to finish in the top of the standings, which I am pretty happy about, but I feel like I do remember those moments where I was making those mistakes, a lot of room for improvement. So I think there are still a lot of things that we need to work on. And you're heading to Busan soon, so what does Busan mean to you? I have experience playing for MSI and Worlds in Busan. And so I have a lot of good memories, and I feel like it actually is a good home buff. And I think if I am able to experience and have a good time in Haeundae, I'll be having a good time. And any message to your fans in regards to Road to MSI? No, we have a lot of time left until Road to MSI. We'll make sure that we are at the top of our form and condition, that we are prepared well for Road to MSI. And that's the end of the interview with Zeus, and back to the space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Yaya. As the next time we will see Zeus and Hanwha Life Esports, it will be in Busan for the potentiality of moving over to MSI as they take care of business today. 2-0 over BNK FearX. Welcome back to the space. Degon alongside Ox and Chronicler. Let's get through it, guys. POM, because we have another match afterwards, but POM and POM voting here, as it was Zeus picking up his team leading, I think it was seventh POM of the season.
I really wanted to vote Peanut, because I think one of the big narratives for Hanwha Life for me has been that Peanut has actually been getting back in form just in time for playoffs. The fact that Peanut had a wonderful series against T1 as well, right? And and he had a really good game on the Xin Zhao. And I know that Zeus was probably still POG of game 1 as well. I was like, I can get away with voting for Peanut. And then a couple of the Gwen plays happened. And then I could no longer do that. And now I feel bad.
I think if game 2 was more for Stomp, then I think it would have been Peanut, but it got a little bit messy, and then Zeus cleaned up. So I was like, because you know when they're kind of doing the victory lap and you get a bunch of kills, it's whatever. But there were some clutch fights that were relevant for Zeus, so he really secured my vote on the back of that.
All right, let's take a look at the votes here. Was it a perfect? Yes, it was a 13 out of 13. Even Super Chichichik didn't mess that one up. Good job, y'all.
It was so obvious, right? Like, and again, I think that if you had any honorary votes, it probably would have been Peanut, but the Sion performance was a no-brainer, and then the Gwen started slow, but if you look at how he plays in the team fights as well, it just kind of makes you wonder again, what can't this guy do? There's a reason why he has been probably the most talked about player when it comes to the changes in rosters that we've had this year, because he is the best top laner in the world, and he has been for a good amount of time now, and even with some of his inconsistencies, he's not giving up.
Yeah, and honestly, the amount of POM points he has, considering it's POM and now POG, 700 is a crazy amount of points to have. If we ignore the obvious outlier, 700 is like a crazy amount to have.
What was it? 11 out of the 1800.
Yeah, I mean, Chovy is just he makes everyone else look bad in comparison. But you know, Zeus' 700 is a crazy amount.
All right, let's get to comments here. Yeah. Ox, what did you have? Or no, Cronny, what did you have here for Zeus?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of this, I'm pretty sure. I went with, the classic Sword and Shield, which I feel like it's weird that we always mention those separately, when really if you only have one of the two, you're not going to be doing that much. I guess Sword alone will be okay, but someone tells Zeus you're not supposed to do both. He was a tank, he was a damage dealer, he was a damage dealer as a tank, and then as a damage dealer, he was also a tank.
You know, if you're just Shield, you're Captain America, right? That's just Shield.
I guess, yeah.
If you're just Sword,
we have a super soldier, so it kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, your top laner can do both, both styles. We've seen, I think the thing with Zeus is everyone thinks of him as that carry top laner, but he won Worlds when it was lane swap meta, right? And I think he's recently, there's been a lot of games where he's been put on these tank picks and doing great, and I think it's showing the diversity of styles he can lean into. And on a roster like HLE, they don't need Zeus to be a carry. He definitely can be that carry for them. We know that for sure, but they don't need him to be, and they have that flexibility of styles that work so well.
And that's what makes him so hard. And you see this with Genji as well. I think Genji, as it comes to archetypes, is a little bit more tied to their own style. But Hanwha Life, and that's the reason why we rate them so highly going into playoffs, you can play through every player, except, I guess, Peanut and Carries. But even then, like some of the Nidalee games that he's had recently are still good enough as...
This is so
I love you, Pony. This is the best.
Superman, Batman, Naruto, Sasuke, and Zeus vs. Keen, June 13th, coming soon in Busan, where there is incredible fun that you can encounter. Let's see.
Why is Keen Sasuke? That's the only one where I'm like, is Keen that edgy?
Let us know.
Keen Batman, I get.
I mean, Batman's definitely more edgy than Superman as well.
Yeah, I guess. I've only heard Keen be edgy in relation to specifically Lahen's tormenting him, which I do think makes sense. As Zeus
Let's
is
go
the
to
best.
Busan!
Let's go to Busan. Yeah, Zeus again. Such a crazy outlier. Would have been talk of the town of best player in the league if it wasn't for a certain someone. Chovy.